Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Cinema Showdown Sunday. And for today we are going to be comparing two of the latest Stephen King adaptations, It 2017 versus Pet Sematary 2019. Round 1 is going to be the cast. Pet Sematary stars Jason Clarke, John Lithgow, and Amy Seimetz. They're veteran actors, okay? They know what they're doing, they're experienced, and their experience shows as they all give great performances in this movie, and they really sell their family and friend dynamics, as well as their fear, their happiness, their grief, and everything in between. But what It brings to the table is something very different, and that is a cast of young actors and an actress that all have very unique and varying personalities. They all come from very different home lives, they have different upbringings, but they all bond over this experience. And that bond and friendship is what carries a massive part of this movie. That bond is something that cannot be broken, and that bond is something that is going to win them this round. Round 1 is going to go to It. Round 2 is going to be the scares. Now I find It to be, I'd say, more disturbing than Pet Sematary. And a lot of that involves children, which makes it even worse in my opinion, because a big part of that is the fact that the villain is a shape-shifting demon monster thingy-majiggy that preys on people's fears. Therefore, a lot of the stuff and imagery that you see is supposed to cause people to be afraid. It's supposed to make them fearful. The more afraid the people are, the more stronger that this being becomes. But where Pet Sematary differs is I didn't really find there was a lot of that disturbing imagery. It stays mostly grounded and realistic throughout the majority of the plot. And it is littered with jump scares. I feel like that's a thing that a lot of people are attacking this movie over, but in my mind, this movie nailed the atmosphere so much better than It did, and the build up to the jump scares I actually felt was very genuinely well executed. I just found that the build up in this movie mixed with the atmosphere made the scares that much scarier. Now I would say It has more unsettling and disturbing imagery. I never found it to be genuinely scary, while Pet Sematary I felt had a great atmosphere and was very intense and actually quite scary through quite a few moments. Therefore, round 2 is going to go to Pet Sematary. Round 3 is going to be the villains. It has, well, Pennywise versus Ellie, yes, the daughter of the main family. Why? She dies, as we see in the trailer, gets buried in the cemetery. Well, not the pet cemetery, because, you know, she's not a pet. She comes back. She is now the villain of the movie. She is pretty creepy, I'm not gonna deny, when you kind of have her walking around the house, almost attempting to act normal, but really being completely dead in the eyes, pale, gross looking, veiny, have, you know, scars where, you know, people took her guts and organs out because they buried her in the ground. But for the most part, when she turns bad, she's just the typical long-haired, creepy girl that's, you know, in every possession or haunting movie ever. But who's really going to beat a shape-shifting clown, demon, monster, alien thing that feeds on people's fear? Pennywise is iconic, whether it is the Tim Curry version or now the Bill Skarsgård version. Pennywise is Pennywise. Therefore, round 3 is going to go to It. Round 4 is going to be the turning point. Now this is a new round I've never really done before, and the turning point can be any point in the movie, just as long as it really turns the story and sets it on its path. So for It has 2 turning points. The first one, of course, is when Georgie dies. That's in the beginning of the movie. We've seen it. We know that it happens. He meets Pennywise in the sewer, gets his arm ripped off, and it's terrifying. I feel so bad for that damn kid. And then it sets the movie in motion as Bill is looking for Georgie. So his group of friends are always constantly following Bill into these situations so he can try to find Georgie. So really, that is a huge turning point in this movie, despite it happening at the very beginning. Or another turning point is when all the friends gather at the fair and they all discuss that they've been seeing this same thing in common, and it is the clown, aka Pennywise. Both of them great turning points. Both of them are leading forces of the movie. Why? Because a huge reason that they get themselves into the situation is because Bill is looking for Georgie, or when they all meet at the park, it's when they decide, hey, we have to kill this clown. We can't let it take any more kids. Switch over to Pet Sematary, and that is, of course, when Ellie dies in the movie. She is hit by the truck. It is an absolutely devastating moment. You spend a vast majority of the first half of this movie with this little girl, with this family. You learn to love this family. Their dynamic is great. They really sell you on that point. In the movie, it changes completely when that devastation happens, and it sets her up as the villain for the rest of the movie. But that is a major turning point in the plot. It completely shifts the movie. Therefore, I'm going to have to give round 4 to Pet Sematary. Here it is, folks, the 5th and final round, and it is going to be the plot. Both of these stories are excellent, really. Even just reading them, it gives me such creepy vibes. Of course, they're coming from the mind of Stephen King, the master of horror. So you know either way the stories are going to be great, but these directors did definitely put their own original spins on both of these stories. Although I do believe that Pet Sematary has a more grounded, of course, story and has a bigger turning point. Pennywise, of course, is just phenomenal. Really, Bill Skarsgård is phenomenal, but of course it always comes back to that centerpiece of these children and their bond, their friendship, their love for one another, and it's what I take with me more than anything in either one of these films. Yes, even more than Pennywise, more than Ellie's death. All these kids are trying to find their place in the world, and they have found it, and it is with each other and taking care of Pennywise to protect the rest of the kids of this town from that monster. Guys, in my mind, it is very close, but I'm going to have to declare the winner and give the crown to It. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, who do you think should have won this cinema showdown? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap.